Good morning and welcome to Morning Movie News, where I am absolutely thrilled to report that Barkhad Abdi has gotten more work. And not just any work, but he has been cast in the Blade Runner sequel. Now, if you aren't familiar with the name Barkhad Abdi or you don't recognize his picture, why not? The man is so talented and he has such an inspiring story. But just to catch you up, Barkhad Abdi made his acting debut in Captain Phillips opposite Tom Hanks, where he made the lines, "I am the captain now," part of the pop culture lexicon. But it wasn't just the script that did it, but his performance. And it was also a wonderful story that he came to the United States from Somalia. Paul Greengrass wanted to cast authentic Somali people in the roles of the pirates, which I think was very commendable, and classic Paul Greengrass. But anyway, they had an open casting call for the film, and Barkhad Abdi, a limo driver in Minneapolis, auditioned and won the role and blew everybody away. He was Oscar nominated, and I think deservedly so. But there are not a lot of opportunities for actors of color, particularly someone who has this, I think, like a unique image as Barkhad Abdi, right? So I was very concerned that he would never work again. We've seen that happen to a number of actors of all different, types. I think a lot of times foreign actors come here and they think they're gonna, transition. Like, remember Jean Dujardin from The Artist? Where did he go? Back to France is the answer, sadly. But Barkhad Abdi has been fighting it out. Good for him. And I think it helped. Jean Dujardin was an Oscar winner, and Barkhad Abdi was just a nominee. But anyway, it's been tough. But, recently he was in Eye in the Sky, that Helen Mirren, Alan Rickman movie, that I actually recommend very highly. I only went to see it because of Barkhad Abdi. I saw that he was in it, and I was so thrilled, and I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I've got to go and support him. And he was really good, and it was a very good movie as a whole. So I'm so happy that he's joining this cast, and this is an amazing cast at this point. You've got Harrison Ford returning. You have Ryan Gosling, Robin Wright, finally getting this. She has this, Blade Runner 2, and also the Wonder Woman movie. So finally, her work on House of Cards is paying off for her career. And then you have it directed by Denis Villeneuve, who did one of my favorite movies recently, and that's Prisoners with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal. So I think it's, when you get a director like Denis Villeneuve, they go and they take a chance and they cast someone like Barkhad Abdi in their movie. And I just think it's absolutely fantastic. I think in a future world with crazy droids, right, pretending to be humans, I believe replicant, right, is the word. I think it's absolutely fantastic opportunity for Barkhad Abdi, and I think he's going to fit into that world perfectly. So I couldn't be more pleased to report that to you this morning. Now, on that note, let's talk about the effort for diversity that has been made by the Academy, yesterday. It was a big headline. They invited 683 new members to join. Now, this is the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences, and this is the group that votes for the Oscars. And of course, they've had 2 years now of Oscars So White. So the Academy vowed to do something about it. They've changed the rules on who can vote, and they've also brought in all these new members to really create some diversity. Although, wait till you hear the details on this. It's actually pretty interesting. And I have mixed feelings about it myself. So anyway, and by the way, in the comment section, there is a link to the list of all the members that have been invited. And when you're invited to join a specific branch, and you can only vote in that branch. I think everybody votes for Best Picture, but for instance, you can maybe only be invited to the director's branch or the writer's branch. And also sometimes people are invited to multiple branches depending on how many hats they wear. So of the 683 invitees, and apparently you can turn it down. I'd be shocked to hear who turned it down. Who's like, you know what? Not only do I not want to help pick who wins Oscars, but I don't want all the free copies on Blu-ray and DVD that go out every year for the awards, right? I'd be like, oh boy, finally, my dream has come true. So 46% is female of the new invitees, and 41% are people of color. Now, I'm shocked that 41, even 41, I think, considering who's working in film today, seems reasonable to me. But also, you would think, considering, women aren't half of the people in Hollywood, I guess, but a lot of women are working in Hollywood today, particularly in, the executive area, and there is an executive branch. You would think that this wouldn't be so unusual to have 46% female and 41% people of color. I mean, the majority is still white men, right? So I think that's weird. But I guess there's some crossover, so maybe at the end of the day it wouldn't be more than 50%. But that's still, I think white males are still very well represented in these new invitees. But anyway, because there are 7,000 members already, over 7,000, this only brings the percentage of female members up from 25% to 27%. So that's still hugely underrepresented in the votership. But it gets worse. So for people of color, this brings it up from 8% to 11%, right? I mean, that is shocking that there's such poor representation of those groups in the votership. Like, they really have a lot of work to do at the Academy. But I'd be curious to see if this does indeed make a difference for the Oscar votes coming up. I think that Nate Parker's upcoming movie, The Birth of a Nation, is going to probably be very controversial because it's slated to be a huge awards contender. I mean, it's almost a given at this point, and we'll talk about more about that in just a moment. But I know that a number of people, including a number of black moviegoers, are just sick and tired of slave movies. And I understand that. I think that's true. I think at a certain point, you want to move past it, and you want to start showing, African Americans and the other things that they've done in this country. For instance, like the upcoming Hidden Figures movie about the black female scientists who helped launch the space program. And, they couldn't have done it without them. And why we're only hearing about this now, who knows? But I think that's the direction a lot of moviegoers, both, black and, other ethnicities, including white, would like to see the depiction of black characters progress. But, Hollywood, and particularly the Academy, loves a good slave movie, and Nate Parker's movie is going full steam ahead. And actually, Nate Parker is part of the group that was invited here. And I have to say, I kind of didn't like that. Why? Well, so many other great people were invited. Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, Idris Elba, all I think deserve to be invited. But Nate Parker, I almost feel like this was like a preemptive invite. They're like, we know your film's going to be a big deal at the awards this upcoming year, so come on in now. It's like, no, you have to prove yourself first. You have to be in a big movie or prove that you've been a working actor for a long time to get invited. And I think when you look at this list of people, some people you're like, oh, cool, why weren't you in the Academy already? But then there are some, and then there are others where you're like, yes, it is time for you to join. But there are other people you're like, come on, like, you think you're lowering the bar like a little bit. So for instance, Luis Guzman, he's been working for so long, totally deserves to be in the Academy. But like Mahershala Ali, with all due respect to Mahershala Ali, who I've interviewed, I don't think his career is at the point yet where he should be part of the Academy. So I don't know, it's a difficult situation. And I'm curious to how you think it's being handled. All right, so that's the second story of the day. Now, the third story of the day is that Ghostbusters just won't quit. Ghostbusters insists on being a blockbuster, and it's not going to give up. So it has a new promotion going on July 1st and 2nd, I believe. So you should look this up, though, to make sure. I forgot to write down the dates in my notes. I have everything else. But over the holiday weekend, basically, and because the movie comes out very soon, we're about like just two weeks away from Ghostbusters, they have a cross-promotion with Lyft, the car riding service, sometimes the car share service. And if you put your app in ghost mode, you can get a free ride in Ecto-1. That's pretty awesome, right? So, and also you'll be entered for a chance to win tickets to the premiere. So if you live in New York City, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Boston, or Washington, D.C., and you want to ride in the Ecto-1, you can either do it like because you think the movie's going to be awesome, or you can do it as a hater. Here's your opportunity. I also like they pointed out that, in the original Ghostbusters, they converted an ambulance to Ecto-1, but in this movie, it's a hearse. Now, that's a little ghoulish, I thought to myself, and then I realized, that makes perfect sense because they are fighting ghosts when you fight one riding in a hearse. So I thought that was kind of cool. Although I have to say, hearses don't look as cool when they're painted in different colors. All right, so anyway, those are the three stories of the day. And I have a very fun question from DJ Skype 020202. All right, so DJ Skype says, hi, Grace, I have a question for you. I was recently in London, and they have a feature at their theaters that we don't have here. He means in the United States. And I'd like to know what you think about it. One, if not more, of their theaters have monthly movie passes. And I've had a number of you in the UK tell me about this as well. So DJ Skype says you pay a monthly subscription and you can go as many times as you like. Do you think something like that could work in the U.S.? They also do Bring a Friend for Free Tuesdays with your monthly pass. Oh, how social. I'm very interested in your take on this. And one of the reasons I picked this question is I had a couple of people send me a link to a new article about this app that's just launched called Atom Tickets, because they're like, oh, do you know that like so many seats go unsold at the movie theater every day? Atom Tickets will fix that. Well, how? Well, Atom Tickets will allow you through the app to coordinate with your friends to go to the movie so you can all buy tickets to the same showing. You can buy your concessions in advance, and they think maybe at some point they'll offer discounts on the concessions and or the movie ticket price itself. Also, it can recommend movies for you based on your past purchases. But I want to point out, if you're going to get any discounts, it's not going to be for peak times, right? If you and all your friends would like to go to a matinee, or you'd like to see a movie a couple of weeks after it initially came out, then I'm sure they'd be maybe willing to give you a discount. But the studios are backing this, I think just because I think the studios are at a very experimental stage right now, because for the love of God, they just want you to go see movies in theaters. So anyway, how do I feel about this? Well, I don't like the movie pass. Well, I personally would love the movie pass, okay? I don't trust others with it. In Europe, you guys are very well behaved in your theaters, which is wonderful. I remember I went to Paris and I went to the movies and no one spoke. It was amazing. And then there was a funny segment in the film where they had some French jokes and they didn't bother to subtitle them because we were in France. And so everybody around us laughed, and it was really funny because they were so quiet for the entire movie. And then all of a sudden they all laughed at once, and it's like, I have no idea why they're laughing, darn it. All right, so anyway. Also, very few people eat snacks in Europe, at least in Paris. Like, no one ate snacks. We were Americans. We were like, we'd like a snack. And they had to open the concession stand for us. We were like, this is so weird. And then Benicio del Toro was caught doing an ice cream Magnum bar ad in front of the movie. I was like, I see you, Benicio. All right, so anyway. What about monthly movie passes? I don't trust other people not to abuse it, because I have a problem even now, and I'm sure some of you do as well here in the United States, that sometimes people go to the movies just to pass time. They're like, I want to go to the movies with my friends, but I actually have no interest in this movie. So they'll be on their phone, they'll come in and out of the theater, they'll chat, and I live in fear of these people ruining my movie experience. And I'm sure, I know a number of you do too, where you're like, you will pay very close attention to who sits around you, and if someone seems like a talker, you will move before the movie starts, because it's that annoying. So I think if people could go for free, it would be even worse. And also, because they didn't pay for the movie, they'd be even less respectful of the experience. They'd be like, I came in for free. Let's go hate watch Ghostbusters, right? Although that might happen anyway, come to think of it. So they're like, let's go into Ghostbusters because we don't have to pay for it, and just totally make it a mess and ruin the experience for everyone else. And movie theaters here don't do a very good job. They have a hard time sometimes keeping everybody safe. Certainly don't, except for theaters like ArcLight and Alamo Drafthouse, they make no effort to try and make sure it's a nice movie-going experience, which methinks is one of the reasons that more and more people are staying home. I wonder how long it's going to take the movie theaters to realize that. So anyway, that's why I'm very, very against the monthly movie pass idea. And as for Atom Tickets, I'm not sure if this would work. And again, anytime that you discount a movie ticket, I get very, very nervous, because I really do feel it devalues the experience for the person going. And if, movie tickets, I think they're just expensive enough that they're going to root out the people who actually don't want to be there. So, I'll never forget, I went to see Monuments Men, and there are these two teenage girls sitting near me, and I was like, oh, how interesting that they want to see Monuments Men. That's nice. And then for the entire movie, they were on their phones texting. Luckily, they were next to me, so I couldn't really see it, but it was super annoying. And so I don't want that to happen, and I feel that any kind of movie discount, and unfortunately, because it would be nice for us that go so often, but I feel that would be really bad. I will say that if you have an AMC near you, the AMC Stubs program is fantastic, especially if you do go. I often go with friends or my parents. And so you can actually get to that $100 reward point pretty darn fast with today's movie ticket prices, because the AMC Stubs program works with both. It works both at the movie tickets and the concession stand, so that all counts towards the $100. And every time you spend $100, you get $10 off. So I think it's a very good rewards program, and I think that's a good rewards program that still keeps out, the disrespectful moviegoers. All right, thank you, DJ Skype. I hope you had a good trip to London, and I think it's great that you too went to the movies. It's so fun to go to the movies in a foreign country. I highly recommend it whenever you're traveling. All right, and also if you can see like a foreign film too, that's even cooler. All right, so anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Right down below, I think today's top 3 stories and that viewer question. moviegoers outside the United States. I'd be very curious to hear what kind of situation you have at your theaters. It's always good to compare notes. Let me know what you'd like to see covered tomorrow down below, and any questions that you might have. Thanks for watching. Bye.